And we are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are the leads on game development and design here at Codename.
Well, not only that, we also founded Codename too.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
You started off really fast in your first one, so I'm just keeping up.
Oh, I see. We will be your hosts for this episode and every episode.
Because when we're not here, the show doesn't have it. I can't keep this up.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's still true, though.
Today is our 138th episode.
Yeah, and it would have been our 139th episode if you hadn't gone on vacation last week.
Hey, I mean, if you don't go on vacation in August, you're going to miss out on all the summer sun.
That's fair. Did you get a lot of sun?
Nope, it rained the whole time.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome back. Hopefully we'll get showered with questions today. If I pass out for some reason, be ready to take the reins. I hope you had a good lunch, though, because we don't want your head to get cloudy.
Don't you have like a job or something?
This is my job.
Anyway, today we are here to answer development and design questions about idle champions.
It's true. But if you don't ask any questions, however, you might have to suffer through Justin's one-man reenactment of his vacation.
Yes, but
Please ask questions on it.
we may get cut off halfway through when the rain machine that we've installed on the roof starts flooding the streaming room.
Well, don't you worry. We're getting swamped with questions.
Oh, come on.
What? I can't sprinkle a bit of humor into an otherwise boring script. You know, you wrote this. This is just absolutely awful.
You're ruining the illusion.
All right. As always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous show that we didn't get to then, so we will answer some of those while we are waiting for new questions to come in. I would love to say that I have updates that the dev team has looked at, but Peter said that he has nothing. He sent me out here empty-handed.
Oh my gosh.
So we're just going to have to get started with the questions left over from last week. If I can find the correct doc. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's this one. Okay. First question left over from last week is, or not last week, the week before. I don't know why I'm rubbing salt in that. Anyway, this is from OG17. Can positional abilities be marked in the bio like Crusaders of the Lost Idol did?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. So there are different types of abilities, obviously, within the game. There's some that are positional, that are affected by things that affect positional abilities. And there's also things that are global, and there's things that are just buff other abilities. And basically every ability has some different tags associated with it. And on the design side, we actually do tag those abilities when we're doing the design just so we can quickly jump through and find out, how many support abilities does this champion have, how many healing abilities, how many gold find abilities, how many formation, positional formation abilities they have, etc. And unfortunately, that data only exists in the design documents and doesn't actually get imported into the game in any way. And so actually knowing what abilities are positional, not just knowing what abilities are positional, but what abilities are intended to be positional, because there are some sort of weird edge cases with when abilities get set up that they get marked as positional when they were never really intended to be positional. And then you get these weird edge cases where like Narak starts buffing them or Warduke starts to invert them in weird ways. So I guess this is all just a very long-winded way of saying I would love to start to tag abilities in-game, but it's a whole bunch of work, and it's probably going to break some stuff. Because, right now, abilities, knowing whether or not they're positional, is done programmatically and not really intentionally from a design side. So it's more that the ability just decides that it's positional because of the way it was implemented and the way that it affects. And that works in 99% of cases, but sometimes it doesn't. So I would like to do this at some point, but I am a little bit apprehensive about the amount of work and the potential messing up with people's formations that it could cause if we let design make those decisions and overrode some of the existing decisions that exist in the game due to how things are implemented. Okay, next question here was from Ray Cool from 2 weeks ago. And they asked, how prepared are you for January 19th, 2038?
January 19th, 2038. Is that really how far it got? Just gets to January 20... Or you say, wait, do you say 29th? It's 19th.
January 19th. Did I say? I don't know.
One of us said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
This is the integer rollover.
This is the actual Y2K
yes, the
problem.
actual Y2K
For people who are old enough to have lived through the fake Y2K
yes,
problem.
the point at which we have been storing timestamps as an integer and it hits the highest value, 4 billion,
4 billion
something, whatever,
seconds.
and then it's literally... I don't think we're really prepared for that.
We're not prepared at all.
For that at all.
No,
I think we
I
store
really
lots
hope-
and lots of time.
I really hope
stamps as that.
Yeah, in the next 14 years, someone comes up with a good solution for that.
Yeah.
And we don't have to just go in and change all of our timestamp fields to longs.
Well, that's 14 years from now.
That's fine.
Yeah,
We're not even going to be using computers then.
It'll be all like brain chips, right? Neuralink.
Yeah. Hope not.
Oh. It's either that or Google gets to read all your thoughts.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Asphila357. Do enemies move or attack faster as the Z levels increase? For example, are they faster at 1,000 than at 500? And if so, by how much? I honestly can't tell with speed potions on.
So no, I don't believe they do, unless there's a specific variant that increases the attack speed or the movement speed. Enemies will move the same speed in Area 1 as they do in Area 1000 as they do in Area 2000. They just have more health and they deal more damage when they attack you.
I mean, which raises the question of why don't they move faster? Like, shouldn't they attack more frequently?
Because they have
move
more health.
faster? This is one
and
dimension.
have
That's
more-
all the only dimension you wanted to balance against?
That is correct.
Right. Never mind then.
Next question here is from Guardian2, I think, or Guardian LL, who asked last week, and I paraphrase this a little bit because it was a little bit broken up, but they're basically asking, is there any way to help less knowledgeable players figure out what champions would bring more/less support to the formation? Or some kind of suggestion for what champions would do better from my pool of champions? Some kind of easy/help mode to help finish the current variant.
That's definitely a tricky problem. It does feel like there's something that on a very basic level we could provide something like that, but I think on a more like optimal level, it's a really tricky one to be providing, like sort of have the game automatically providing, which I think is the thrust of the question.
Yeah. I mean, part of the thing is that's essentially the game.
It's called Sean.
You
just go on Formation Save
Discord
and ask Sean.
Yeah. But that is basically the game, right? The game is figure out what champions will help you push further and where you have to place them in your formation and what other champions work well with them and then do it. But I can definitely see how that can be overwhelming for brand new players. And I think this was a newer player. But definitely, like, you come into the game and there's 140 champions, and you've got access to.
Well, you don't see that at first.
You don't start out with all 140 of them, but maybe you're going to like look for a time gate to open. You're like, which of these 140 champions is going to be most useful to me, given the
Well, you go to the time gate, you see 140 champions, and you just promptly close the game and quit. You're just like, nope, too much.
Well, it is an issue, right? Trying to make the game easy for new players to grok is part of the reason why we try and hide features in your first kind of playthrough of the game. We don't necessarily
you can't
need
open
to,
a time gate at that point. You have to,
that may very well be true. Well, you definitely don't have enough time gate pieces to do it. But one of the reasons we do that is to try and keep things a little bit simpler earlier on, when you've only got 12 champions, plus, if you get a couple of event ones in your first
that's
couple
true.
of weeks.
You could go to the event, open that up, and be like, oh, there's 10 champions to choose from.
And that's why we made it 10 instead of 140. Or not why, but that's one of the reasons why we made it 10 instead of, having access to all of them. So, I think the actual answer I would give to this is that we're probably not going to do something in the game that does this, but we do have an extremely helpful community that exists on Discord, that exists on Reddit, that exists on Steam, that exists here in this chat, who would love to help you figure out your first couple of adventures through the game and help you figure out, your first kind of combo that works really well. And so I would suggest for new players that you engage with those, because that's going to be your best resource for figuring out some really efficient ways to play.
All right. Cool. Let's move on to questions from today. First question out of the gate today was from Foolish Genius 89 asking, you mentioned a while ago that you weren't happy with how Legendary centralizes a player's power within a few champions. Are you still considering options to change how Legendaries work?
Yes.
Which list is it on?
It is on, well, it's potentially on the end of the year list, but I think it's going to slip from there because that list is getting too big. So it'll go down into a lower priority list, unfortunately. It is on that list, or it's on a list. I really want to find a way to make it so that, engaging with the Legendary system doesn't make you feel like you're locked into a set of champions that you have created Legendary gear for and leveled up Legendary gear for, and make you feel like when you can't use those champions that you are, losing out on something that you spent a lot of effort on, because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to get high-level legendaries on your champions. And if you're locked into a small set of champions and a variant doesn't allow for those champions, that can feel really bad. So I think that there's definitely some work to be done there to try and make that system a little bit more versatile. But it's definitely a little bit further out than a lot of the other things we talk about on here.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Meow Arf Moo, asking, did you know that the multi-tier event augment is super awesome ow? Awesome ow? Awesome ow?
Awesome meow.
Awesome also meow.
Awesome meow.
It's either also meow or it's awesome ow.
It's awesome meow.
That's not how you spell that.
Awesome meow.
I don't
It's
know.
awesome with a meow at the end.
I see
Dave.
that, but it would need an extra spelling. Anyway, it says five out of 4 multi-animal persons agrees. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so the multi-tier augment, I think it definitely did what we were looking for it to do, which was it was to help people complete their variants with a little bit less work and complete more variants. We definitely saw the kind of numbers we were hoping for in terms of variant completion. And so that was a good thing, and I think
true. We got a chart and everything.
We got a beautiful chart that showed that I think the number of people who are completing like the tier 4 variants had increased significantly, which is what we were looking for that. We were looking to take the event and make it, instead of 12 variants to complete a champion's event, a few less. So I think it's really good, and we are going to be duplicating that in September. I think we're going to have the multi-tier augment in September, just to double check and make sure that August wasn't a fluke. And I think if it continues to show good numbers after that it could very well become a base feature of events and free up a augment slot for us to start playing around with other things.
Do we have a limited number of augment slots? Is that or is it just how many fit in the UI? So we're stuck with
I
like
think
5?
we like to try and keep it to 4.
Okay.
So, if
did the screen just shrink? No.
Did it? No.
I don't think so.
Did we zoom in on the camera somehow?
No, not from here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. This is from Shivek74. Will the alchemists offer a way to turn legendary potions back into scales?
That is a good question. I am not 100% sure. My initial reaction is probably not. But I think the point at which we'd start to mess around with refunding legendary potions would be the point at which we'd made those legendary changes that I was talking about in an earlier question. And at that point, we'd probably do that. I worry about potentially creating some sort of unintentional scale bank type system if we were to commit to being able to convert those back into scales through the Alchemist. So it's most likely that the Alchemist won't interact with legendary potions quite yet.
Okay, next question. This one is from Emote. Could you please put a rush on something that lets us open more bounties at a time? Eliwick has allowed Eliwick has allowed us to get even more than we have ever gotten before, and opening 50 at a time isn't tenable.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing leads to another. You get those
Yeah.
extra gems.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about before the reason. There's like two reasons why the bounty contracts are tough to do.
Yes.
There's some sort of way in which the client sends the data to the back end that is broken right now, and that will need to be looked at.
There's the goober.
And
it's
then
the
there's
goober
the,
count.
and then there's the goober count one, which I feel like is a less challenging issue.
It shouldn't
but,
be. I know Peter spent a little bit of time that he had to try and get that working, and then it didn't get it working, and then moved back to another critical item on the list. So it's definitely something that is on the list to get done, and the sooner the better, for sure. I think that one's been sitting there for quite some time. So
yeah, so it is on our list to do that. I don't know that we're going to rush it, but it's definitely on the list.
Okie dokie. Next question. This is from Rough Rider 1995. Why was the Fortune's Wheel Favor Blessing released at a level where gaining favor besides conversions isn't feasible?
That's not feasible right now, but it might be feasible in the future. Certainly when the area cap increases, I would expect the sort of favor cap to go up. But another part of that is I don't actually mind it right now, because it allows us to kind of play around with having blessings that you just can't, you can't just immediately go buy all of them if you've spent, if you've like sneezed at the campaign and maxed out your favor in it. So yeah, I think there will definitely be things that will handle this in the future. And for now, just having some favor conversion be a part of getting all the blessings in there is not the end of the world for me.
Okay.
I like it that there's blessings that you can't just get just by immediately playing.
Now the next question here. This is not unexpected from Ranram, asking, can this upcoming event pretty please be the last time staggered champions happen? And then in brackets, I'm pretty sure it's a legal requirement for me to post this following last month.
Yeah, so we are going to be redoing the staggered champion releases in this upcoming event. We'll have a new champion.
What?
Yeah, we'll
Was
have a new
this
champion.
a requirement for multi-tier?
Yeah.
You had to have both.
We'll have a new champion in the first week, and then we'll have our reworked champion, who, spoiler alert, it's Rosie, like we said it was going to be in September, in week 2. So we will see how that goes. We got some pretty good numbers from the staggered champion release in this past month in August, but it was a little bit of a different month because we had a bunch of other stuff going on. It was 2 reworks instead of a new and a rework. We had retirement sales going on at the same time, which kind of muddled some of the revenue numbers we were looking at. So there's a bunch of stuff that we want to test again on that. So we're going to run another test this month and see how that goes. And like I said, it's one of those things where if this we're looking for the staggered champion releases to have some positive numbers show up. And if we just see neutral numbers from it, then we probably won't bother doing it anymore. But if we see some of those positive numbers start to sneak through, like more engagement in the second week, and stuff like that, then I think it could potentially stick around for future events as well. We did see some negative feedback about it, but we also saw some positive feedback from the community about it. So right now, I'm not necessarily sold in one direction or the other in terms of keeping it or dumping it.
Okay. A lot of good questions today.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. This is from Emote. Will Augment 3 future boons that unlocks one boon in the next event also unlock that event's paid flex slot?
Yeah, that is the plan right now. So I think we just released the boon blog this afternoon, so just before we started. So there's one of the boons in the September event. It's called Future Boons, and it basically means if you buy a boon in September, then we will give you a level 1 boon at the start of October's event. One of the other boons that's going on for September is that, or not boons, augments that's going on for September is any boons you buy during the September event will all last until the beginning of the October event, so you get an extra week of boon power from them. So we are just, we're seeing what kind of things that does to, I guess, boon purchase rates at this point.
Okay.
That one's pretty transparent.
We want to make sure that boons purchased later
have value.
Don't have a feel bad associated with them.
Yeah, and I think we're going to continue to kind of mess around with that because we've definitely seen a lot of feedback from people who are like, I don't want to buy boons, I don't want to buy the DLC later in the event because they're just going to expire sooner. I want to be able to keep them for a longer time or for the full duration or whatnot. So
definitely less value if you buy it and you get less duration. So.
Yeah. So we're looking at some more augments in future months to try and mitigate that as well.
Yep. Okay, next question. This is from Garawar. Is there a way to have regular formation saves load in specs and feats without requiring the formation to be selected in the Modron you are using? I know it's been talked about before, but that would be a great quality of life change for the end of year patch. We have an end of year patch?
We do have an end of year patch, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not sure when it's going to get it. It might get out at the beginning of next year.
Right. Right.
But we're calling it the end of year patch right now. So yeah, this is the question about just regular formation saves, including specs and feats, as opposed to just the ones that you load up in Modron automation. And I can never remember exactly why we went in the direction we went on this. I feel like it was something. I feel like this was something that got implemented while I was on vacation or something, or like out on leave.
Formation saves. The specialization selection saved is as part of the Modron stuff. I know it was part of your design for it because I know there was a point at which I implemented one that selected your previously selected one. If you didn't choose one in a given amount of time, there was like a delay, a little bar that said pick your spec, and if it didn't, if you ignored it because you weren't paying attention, it just selected the previous one that you had selected. But that got nixed in terms in favor of the Modron automation.
I literally have no recollection of that kind of implementation, so I'm pretty sure we must have released that right around the time that one of my kids is being born or something, and I was off for a month because I have no recollection of that particular implementation. Rough Rider 1995 says, "Got to stop the vacations."
Yeah,
never.
You take too many vacations, Justin.
2 weeks a year, man. So to circle back around to, would we have just regular formation saves include specs and feats? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't feel like it'd be a bad thing to have that. It just helps with automation, with loading them in. I guess my only concern would be kind of what you said of someone who loaded up a formation in like a variant, but then they want to go a different direction because maybe the variant has a restriction or something that would make a different specialization choice more useful, and then they have to end up using like a spec potion or something to try and undo and then sneak the spec choice in before the automated system does whatever. But I think we'd have to We'd have to think about that. No Rough Rider 1995. No plans for any more children. Stop trying to sneak stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder if this initially the design was tied to having things for the Modron to automate, and so if the Modron automation was going to handle a handful of otherwise tasks that you would be manually handling, that if those were sort of automatic already, that would take away from having it set in the Modron system. But
maybe we need to make it so you have to have 2 familiars assigned to each champion, one to level them up and one to pick the spec choices when it gets there.
Could work. All right, let's move on. Next question. This is from Vovcast. Can we get a huge chest in the shop for 1,000,000 gems, next to the chests for 50 and 500 gems? It would be more fun and fast opening those reducing server loads. It's very boring to buy and open each of the 6 chests by hand, and lots of players are using scripts to buy and open them.
Yes, we know. We see it on the servers.
That's true.
So one of the things that we did in Crusaders when we ran into a similar issue is we did these kind of huge chests.
Is it the mega chest?
The mega or the ultra? I don't know what they were. They were massive chests that had you could buy them for a whole bunch of gems, and they had a whole bunch of stuff in them. But they had they had a fixed amount of stuff in them, I think. And so the way they work is that you basically got a fixed contents. So it removed the randomization, which made it a lot more straightforward to open them, and a lot more like you just knew exactly what you were going to get out of them. And I can see that kind of happen with kind of the speed up to gem farming that we did with Eliwick. I can definitely see this being a higher priority now. Just having some way to basically convert the gems to the things that you care about, which is going to be the blacksmithing contracts and the bounty contracts, in a similar way that people want to convert their bounty contracts to something they care about, which is event tokens. So, and then they want to convert those event tokens to something they care about, which is shinies and item levels.
That question is a few questions down. Right?
There's a... maybe we need to start to cut out the middleman on some of these interactions here, just to make things a little bit more efficient for both players and for us on the servers.
Okay. Next question. This is also from Vovcast. It would be cool to unlock gem and gold farming Modron cores someday. Are there any chances?
Well, I did just go kind of redonkulous with Eliwick, so maybe it's...
You're just going to lean into it?
Maybe we'll just lean into it, and we'll do a gem farming Modron core that has a bunch of nodes that increase gems to drop.
Then you're going to have to find something to spend those gems on.
Well, you spend gems on the chests.
On the mega chests.
The chests to get the bounty contracts. You get the bounty contracts to get the... It's like a supply chain thing, right? You don't want to mess with it too much. Start to get
inflation.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we've all lived through the last 4 or 5 years. You don't want to mess with the supply chain. We don't want to give our game COVID.
Too far. You've gone too far.
All right, fine.
Next question. Unless you wanted to ask more of that.
No, I'm just sighing at McTribble's pun.
Okay, next question. This is from The Clues. Is there a reason that successfully completing a Tier 10 trial run may not give enough vile rewards to run another Tier 10 campaign? RNG punishment for winning feels bad.
Yeah, I get that. It is RNG. RNG is... it's an interesting beast in terms of game development. It's something that... players want. They want there to be RNG, but they don't want it to be bad RNG. Like there's bad RNG and good RNG. It's all just RNG. It's all
RNG
just
in my favor is
numbers.
good RNG.
Yes.
The RNG that's in that's not in my favor, that's not in your favor, still good RNG.
So I think that I mean, we definitely try and do a couple of little things, a light-handed approach to try and reduce, bad RNG. Like we've got the epic, the pity timers on chests for epic items, so that you can't go like 20 chests without getting an epic item, which is something that would happen, even though the odds of it are quite low. But it would happen to some players if we didn't have that in, and so, I think that. I think that we should probably look at we should probably look at whether or not we need to do something there, and just kind of try and snip off the bottom end of the bad luck that you can have there with that RNG. I'll highlight that and see how that feels.
Okay. All right, next question. This is from the Bard's Forge, asking how many extra gems were farmed thanks to Eliwick and the Boon. You got some metrics on that?
Do I have some specific
Yep.
extra gems over? I don't actually at all, but I know it was a bunch. We've seen lots
So
of people
helpful.
commenting on being able to finish getting all of their gem items. Obviously, there's lots of questions or people commenting in here about being able to get far more chests than they were able to get before, and that's good. That's why we did that, is so that we could see what injecting a multiplier on your gems would do. And right now, everyone seems to be happy with it. So, we'll leave it there for now.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Next question. This is from OG17. Opening bulk bounty contracts is beyond tedious, and I'm not even scripting. Can we have the option to purchase chests for contracts directly, like another slider in the shop? Players who want gold or Vin Ursa stacks could open them normally, but since the token values are known, it seems unnecessary to go through this slow, costly opening step just to convert them to usable currency.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of addressed this up above. I think there's probably some ways we can try and short circuit some of these things, like letting you buy, some sort of token or something that you can just convert directly for. Maybe you can just buy event tokens directly for gems, and then that at least cuts out the opening of the chests and the opening of the bounty contracts and whatnot. Of course, you'd lose out in that case on the blacksmithing contracts that you get from those chests. So, maybe there'd need to be some sort of ratio, some sort of ratio of some sort. to say it eloquently. We need to think about specifically what steps we'd like to break out of there, and what the costs would be for making things a little bit simpler and easier to do.
Yeah. On the other hand, we're going to get that just bulk bounty contract use in first. I think that by itself.
Well, if we can get rid of the need for it, then we don't even need to do it, right? If we be like, you don't even need to bulk use your bounty contracts because you don't need to get bounty contracts directly anymore.
All right.
It looks, giveaway in 2 minutes. Has it been 2 minutes since this was put in here?
Probably been 1 minute, I think.
Okay, well,
So we
it
have
says here in our document, giveaway in 2 minutes. So in 1 minute, there's going to be a giveaway. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. I don't know.
If you talk about it for long enough.
If I talk about it for long enough, maybe. So there's someone typing here. You can say the word. Okay.
Bird?
So it is bird. I think bird is the word.
That's
No,
right. Yeah.
Bird is not the word. Anyway.
What?
It's time for our stream famous 42 chest giveaway. The way this works, if you haven't been here before, is there is in fact a keyword in chat. Everyone's spamming it right now. All you have to do is copy and paste that keyword into chat, and you'll be entered for a chance to win 42 chests of your choice. It can be any type of chest in the game. If you win, you just tell us what kind of chest you want. Give us tell us where your account is and what the name is, and we will add 42 of that chest to your account. It could be any type of chest, any type of chest that exists in the game, except for Gloria Bahamut chests.
Right.
It could be Modron chests, gold chests. You get some more Eliwick chests. Try and level up that gem gear a bit.
Yeah. How about that clairvoyant admin chest? I still think that's the best choice.
It doesn't exist in the game, so you can't have that one.
Okay. What about a little finger chest? What would you like? How about a baby chest? A Chantonegg chest? How about a cosmic purple chest? A Parisian chest? An imperator chest.
Nice.
A black chest. Maybe
These all
a red
sound like
chest.
chests. Things that would hurt in my eye. It would suck
So
to have a baby
how about
in your
a
eye.
purple dragon chest?
Okay, well that sounds like.
Oh my, that's
Oh,
Denver
Rustical
chest.
got it there.
Oh.
Carrots. Types of carrots. That was correct.
okay.
Good job, Rustical. You win.
A purple dragon chest.
You win praise from myself.
That'd be a really
Congratulations.
cool chest, actually. A purple dragon chest. Sort of its wings over the. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Justin doesn't like it. I don't know why. Okie dokie.
Anyway, let's get back to the questions. Good luck to everyone on that giveaway. It will end shortly, and they will pick a winner. And hopefully, it's you. 100% guaranteed that that is
Yeah.
true. For one of you. Okie dokie.
And the winner is someone who didn't enter. I don't know.
Someone who wasn't in the chat watching
the
stream.
chatbot one. Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from OG17 asking, do you see substantial feat system changes coming? Or do they just sneak up on you?
That's a good question. So, way back in the day, we were looking at doing, not way back in the day, but like last year or the year before, we were looking at doing, the point before we added 2 more feat slots, so there were 4 feat slots. We were looking at doing something a little bit more substantial, and we were looking at kind of changing feats so that most feats were just kind of always on, and you just got as many feats as you had, you just have them enabled. And then there were a couple of feats, like the stat feats and whatnot, that you could toggle on and off. And I think we kind of, we pumped the brakes on that because we were a little bit concerned about what that would mean for some of the different sort of more unique types of feats. And I think there was also going to be quite a bit of work needed to be done in the back end to support that type of thing. So I'm not sure. At some point, I could see reevaluating that and seeing whether something like that made more sense. I like it because it gives people a reason to collect as many feats as possible. Right now, it kind of feels like if you get 4 feats that you like and they buff the abilities you want them to buff, that there's not really any reason to get any more feats because you're not going to be benefiting from them without having to give up another perk that you already like. So I could see doing something like that down the road. It's not on any particular list right now, but I could see it getting back onto a list at some point in the future.
Okie dokie. Do-do-do. Next question. This is from. Oh, you just highlighted this because you wanted me to attempt to pronounce the name.
No, that's an easy name to pronounce.
All
What are
right.
you talking
From
about?
Garumph.
Yeah, Garumph Harumph.
Garumph. 3.
Super
Oh,
easy.
yeah, that's true. That's easier than it looks. Easier than it sounds. And they ask, is drought common during the applause time? This is clearly
I think they
a
asked
reference.
this during the intro there.
There is no time for applause.
We don't
Shameful
expect people
booing,
to.
I think.
Yeah. Generally, what we're going for in the intros is booing.
Yeah.
They're not written to be good. They're written to fill time while people ask questions.
Just what people come in, find their seats.
Yeah.
That's
It's like the stand-up comedian
that they played before this.
Before the one that you actually went to the show to see. Who's like, sometimes they're good, but sometimes they're just there, and we're just there.
Yeah. Sometimes you really just can't wait for the cat to meow.
Sometimes you're like, maybe I should have shown up after the previews had played, so that I could get right into the movie. Anyway.
Yeah. At any rate, the next question is from Lion 2018-2019. Pack again. Sure. All right. Anyway, they would like to know, should I hoard the Timegate pieces for Timegates 2.0?
Yeah, so TimeGates 2.0 is still something that's on our to-do list. It's about 3 or 4 items down in terms of feature releases. The reason we want to do a TimeGates 2.0 is because sort of the initial or the current implementation of TimeGates is just like a much worse version of Events 2.0 or Events 3.0, whatever we're calling it. Yeah, okay. So there's a debate going on in chat about whether we're already in 2.0. And so the next version of TimeGates, we do want to improve so that the benefits you get from them are at least kind of on par with kind of running an event. Because the idea of TimeGates has always been like, oh, you just missed an event on a champion you really wanted to get, or a champion whose variants you really wanted to finish. And it's a way to kind of access that without having to wait a full year. And then, of course, once we got into Events 2.0, we started, or not Events 2.0, the original event system, once we got to year 4 and we started to kind of retire champions, it became the only way to get champions from them. So it has a long and storied purpose. Mm-hmm. With Events 2.0, that purpose is diminished somewhat. You can now access all of the kind of retired champions in events as flex champions, and the cost and the rewards you get for those champions is much better than you get from TimeGates. So TimeGates clearly need something.
Yeah, TimeGates clearly was designed for a time when there were many fewer champions in the game.
Fewer champions, fewer chests, fewer everything. So it's definitely in our plans to revise those and do something with them to make them better.
But regardless, I don't know if the hoarding of the TimeGate pieces, because I understand you were going to change these to require TimeGate 2.0 pieces, which are a separate currency.
Don't listen to him. It's not true.
Yeah. Now, there's an exchange rate, but it's not very good. I think it's like 3-to-1 or 3-to-1 to 2.0.
Yeah. So in terms of like just not opening TimeGates right now and holding on to your pieces, I think that's up to your individual play style and whether or not, is there a champion that you want to unlock? It's probably still worth unlocking champions through there. Is there a champion that you just really want to do one of the variants? Probably still worth doing that. But I do think that, honestly, once the rework is done, you'll get more bang for your buck for the TimeGate pieces than you will using them now in TimeGates.
Yeah, and I mean, in a timeline standpoint, this is not something that you would expect soon in terms of a feature.
I wouldn't expect it within the next 6 or 9 months. It's probably beyond there, probably sometime in the latter half of next year.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Rough Rider 1995, asking, with the number of Electrum chests decreased in half on a weekly basis, will something be done to increase their availability? So this is we've had
because we have fewer streams going
fewer
on.
chests.
I don't think so right now. This is a better question really for the marketing team. So I'm not aware of anything we're going to be doing to increase their availability. But you never know. It'll be something that we'll be thinking about, I'm sure. Especially considering I think we got the same question 2 weeks ago too. So yeah, it's on our mind.
All right. It's funny. Here's another. Certainly there's a theme today. The next question here, also from Rough Rider 1995, asks, with the increase in gem farms after the previous event, how soon will a solution be implemented to address the huge number of bounty contracts that we have to open each month? Now, I don't know if that's have to, as in like you have to. That's have, as in you have them and you have them to open.
I think it's have to.
Yeah, it doesn't read that way to me.
It reads to me like have to.
You can keep them. They don't expire.
They don't expire. That's true. But yeah, I think we've already kind of addressed this question. Like we're going to be thinking about what we can do to streamline this process. Yeah. But yeah,
for sure. Okie dokie.
Nothing for September, at least. September is locked.
That's true. Next question. This one is from Skepny. I started using Rust after the rework for my first gold formation. Randomly, his Rust for higher gold bonus is boosted by 1,000% for 8 to 15 seconds. I'm guessing that he gets this buff when he crits, but I've not found any writing on what actually is causing this. If it's not the Merylwyn alt, because I use that time to time stack with his particular random buff, is there any idea? So what's causing this? Justin's like, I don't believe it's happening at all.
I don't. Well, I believe that it's
No.
happening, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Is this sort of the challenge with a game with so many effects?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he does have a gold bonus that applies when you don't have his gold piece. And then, of course, that goes away once you get the gold piece
It
back.
says it's not the gold piece either.
But I don't know. It's his ability to defeat his ability to go when he's holding his coin. Yeah, I mean, that's his fifth formation ability is like riches or rags or something like that. That does increase your gold find when you don't have the coin. And I mean, that would make sense that would, only be there for 8 to 15 seconds, especially if you were running speed pots and he was, and you were smashing through enemies. You'd find the gold coin pretty quickly after using Rust's ultimate. So maybe check to see if it's happening consistently when Rust uses his ultimate, because that may very well be related to it. But I am not sure. It could very well also be a bug of some sort, or some sort of weird glitch combination thing between other champions as well. Off the top of my head, I do not know.
All right. Where are we at? Okay, next question. This is from Macrosimatos. Any plan to balance the anti-boss healing feat? Like vicious damage for Sentry that is self-damage bonus to make it a party bonus, as a tank doesn't need self-damage.
Yeah, I actually saw this question from not last week, but the last episode. Somebody asked a very similar thing, and I actually highlighted it. And so the reason this was done this way was because we designed this anti-boss healing feat, this vicious damage feat, without a particular champion in mind of who we would assign it to. And then, and so we just put a self-damage bonus on it as kind of a placeholder. And then when we decided that Sentry should have a vicious damage feat, it just got implemented with that placeholder self-damage bonus. So it is actually on the list of things to consider, is to actually change Sentry's vicious damage feat, to change it to global DPS, so that it feels more on point for a tanking support champion like Sentry. The only thing I think that is stopping us from doing that is the concern that there is one person out there who uses Sentry as their main DPS and will be pissed at us and send us a very angry ticket if we change their super high damage DPS. No. But yeah, I think that I think we could probably look at Sentries and change it to global DPS without having to change other vicious damage feats that are on DPS champions where that 400% damage does help. So I can probably make that happen pretty quickly, I think.
Okay. All right, next question. This one is from Charlations, and they would like to know, and they're asked, can you explain the difference between stacking additively and multiplicatively? Because I was trying out Omen's specialization form ranks, stacks 50% multiplicatively per champion of Tamora, but with 6 champions of Tamora in the formation, I only had a 600% increase.
Okay. So the difference between stacking additively and multiplicatively is that if you have like 100% bonus and you stack it additively, say 3 times, it's 100% plus 100% plus 100%, you'd have a 300% bonus.
All right, making Justin do math on stream.
Yeah, this is great.
You can add multiples of 100.
Add this to your bingo cards, folks.
Yep.
If you have a 100% bonus that stacks multiplicatively, then it functions a little bit differently. So 100% bonus is, the way I do it, I convert them over to multipliers and then subtract 1 at the end. So for me, at like 100% bonus, I convert that to a 2 times multiplier, because plus 100% is 2 times. And then you just multiply that together a bunch of times. So if it was 3 times, then 2 to the power of 3 is 8. And then I always subtract 1 and multiply that back out to a percentage, and that's a 700% bonus. Yeah. So, I mean, the TLDR is that multiplicatively stacking stuff just stacks a lot faster, and it stacks a lot higher than additive stuff. The 50% stacking multiplicatively 6 times should be a 1,039% buff, just by my quick math here. If it was only stacking 5 times, that would be a 659% buff. So maybe you're seeing 5 stacks of it at that around 600%. So that's probably what's happening there. But yeah, multiplicative stuff is the good stuff. That's what makes champions super powerful. It's something that we try and do a little bit of multiplicative stuff in all of the sort of new or updated champions. It's funny to go back and look at some of the older champions designs, because we tended to avoid that, to try and avoid things getting too OP. But at some point we just kind of threw up our hands and said, you know what, OP is fun. Let's let things be OP. And we started doing more multiplicative stuff at that point. So it's always fun when we go back, especially like year 1 or 2 champions, and do reworks on them, because sometimes making them effective is as simple as changing something from additive to multiplicative.
Certainly makes them more effective.
Yeah, very much so. And then let me tell you about pre-stack versus post-stack buffing.
Go ahead.
Oh, pre-stack is better than post-stack.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
Adding the buff before you stack things is always going to be better than adding the buff after you stack.
Next question here is from Fewer Pills, who asks, the worth the weight augment returns. Just why? Why'd you do that to people, Dave?
Me, yeah, I was definitely I made that call single-handedly, overrode everyone else who was absolutely
we were all
adamant
saying stop.
Against,
I was like, Ram, Fewer Pills, they don't want it. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you alluded to this a little bit earlier.
I did. Yeah, I talked about it.
Where we definitely had some confounding variables in the last month in terms of sort of what was impacting what, especially the combination of the multi-tier, combination of retirements, combination of a number of other things.
Daily login bonuses.
Yeah, the daily login bonus.
Yeah.
That made it difficult to tell sort of how much of a change the worth the weight augment actually had in terms of sort of player retention during those times. So we want to make sure that people are not just finishing everything all at once and then having nothing to do for the rest of the event. That's part of the reason why we've done this, and so we're testing it again to see if we can get some more definitive answers out of that. So, but I mean, I know it's not the most popular one, but I know sort of as a consolation, the multi-tier, which was very popular, is also returning. So, I think they're just inexorably linked.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okie dokie. Next question. Let's see, 2:55. We probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions. This next one is from DD Manier. The new favor blessings of Fortune's favor stays at 0% after pursuing. I guess this is a bug?
I assume they meant purchasing here.
Well, it says pursuing.
I know it does. I think they meant purchasing. It does sound like that's a bug. Yep. Occasionally, sometimes there'll be display bugs. Sometimes they'll be just based off of saves or something. But sometimes, yeah, there are these weird things after the first time you purchase something. I'll pass this on to the dev team and see if it makes sense to, or if the question makes sense, and if we know what the bug is, and then we can get it fixed. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it doesn't persist through restarting the game.
Yeah, clearly the reason we're able to put this in is because we don't have a HAL. It's not there to say, I'm sorry, Dave, you can't do that.
We should get one.
No,
And we should let it control all of the doors and windows into and out of the the office.
All right. Let's see. Next question, and probably the last one we've got time for today, is from Rough Rider 1995, asking, is the plan to continue primarily with lore and original characters versus content creator characters?
That's a good question. So I think we will continue to have a distribution of them. I don't think we're going to go all in one direction or all in the other direction.
Right. We talked about this a little bit last week. Or not last week. The week
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Where really we've just been through so many of the content creator characters that to a large degree we're starting to run out.
Yeah, there are some more that we were talking about for sort of earlier in the year next year. But we also have some cool lore characters. We've got but we have a couple more Baldur's Gate characters that we can do as well. As far as I'm aware, we haven't had any big issue kind of filling our champion pipeline, especially considering we've pulled back just a little bit on the brand new champions to fit in those reworks every month as well with Events 2.0. So, there's some cool champions coming down the pipeline.
It's true. All right. Well, I think that is all we have time for today.
Oh my goodness. That blasted by.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out exactly how to cross things out, and I had a brain fart and can't remember how to do it. Anyway, if we didn't get to your question this week, don't worry. We will, in fact, be back next week.
That's true.
Next Thursday.
Yep.
We'll be here. Same bat time, same bat place.
Same bat channel?
Same bat channel, yes.
Yep.
Yes, unless we change the company name in the next week, but that seems unlikely. Before we go, though, I'd like to thank our tireless mods. This week it was Sean and Jay. They're the two folks who copied your questions into our questions doc and made things awesome in chat. So thanks to both of you.
Yeah, and of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, watching the stream, asking such great questions, and for playing the game. Because without you, no one here would get to do what we do.
And we like what we do.
That's true. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. All right, Justin. Why does Waldo wear stripes on his shirt?
I don't know why.
It's because he doesn't want to be spotted.